What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video, I'm going to be reviewing the very first Fast and the Furious movie that came out in 2001. What I'm going to do after I review this one is I'm going to review the other 5 movies that have come after it in preparation for Furious 7, which is actually coming out this Friday, as a matter of fact. So, I'm going to be doing a review of all of them. And without further ado, I'm going to get right into the review of the very first one. So, the big actors in this are Paul Walker, the late Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, and Jordana Brewster. They're the main guys in the movie. I mean, the major people. So, Paul Walker plays a guy named Brian O'Connor, who is investigating a series of hijackings by Dominic Toretto, who's played by Vin Diesel. So, the question is in this movie, the question is about loyalty, eventually, in this film. He tries to bring down Toretto, and this other guy who's kind of, sort of in league with him, a guy named Johnny Storm or something like that. Whatever his name is. He's another guy who's kind of behind the hijackings as well. You'd have to kind of watch the film to kind of really, kind of get the connection, but it pretty much is those 4 big characters that I mentioned. So basically, this movie is about loyalty because Brian O'Connor is assigned to bring down Toretto because of the hijackings, but O'Connor realizes that Toretto has a family around him. Toretto has his girlfriend, Letty, who's played by Michelle Rodriguez, his sister, Mia, who's played by Jordana Brewster, Jesse, who's played by a guy named Chad Lindbergh, and a few other guys as well. And then Brian O'Connor gets in a relationship with Mia, and that kind of asks the question about loyalty. Brian O'Connor's an undercover cop, an undercover detective who's trying to bring down Toretto, but he gets into a nice relationship with Toretto's sister, Mia, and the whole crew of Toretto. So a question comes about loyalty, definitely. Is he going to be loyal to the cop, to his undercover, the people the people who are in charge of the undercover project, or is he going to be loyal to Toretto and his crew? So that's basically the big type of plot, along with cars, women, and everything else that the Fast and Furious movies offer. Paul Walker is pretty beloved. He is known for that role as Brian O'Connor. Does he portray Brian O'Connor the best? Is he the best actor to play Brian O'Connor? If there was somebody that was better, like a Christian Bale or a Mark Wahlberg, 2 guys actually that were up for that role, then I could see Wahlberg play Brian O'Connor better than Paul Walker did. I could see that because Wahlberg has that type of personality that he displays in his movies. What I'm saying is Walker doesn't play the greatest Brian O'Connor, but he does a serviceable job nonetheless. Believe it or not, probably one of the big stars of the film for me is Vin Diesel as Toretto. There is one particular scene where he is talking to Brian O'Connor, where Toretto talks to Brian O'Connor about these issues in his life. I'm just going to go with that. watch the movie for yourselves if you haven't seen it. This scene is pretty powerful. I mean, it's very powerful. It shows the acting chops that Vin Diesel does have as an actor. Letty, Toretto's girlfriend, played by Michelle Rodriguez. I thought she was underused. I wanted to see a little bit more of her in this movie. You saw quite a bit, but I wanted to see a little more. I wanted to kind of get into her story a little more. I thought Jordana Brewster as Mia was good. I thought she was pretty good. Another big thing I had was towards the end of the film where they have this impromptu race at the end when they're being chased, when Toretto's being chased by the police and Brian O'Connor. I thought the scene in particular was so dumb. It didn't need to be in there. It just didn't have to be in there. It was dumb. It was unnecessary. And I take away from the movie, in terms of my review, I take away a little bit because of that scene in particular. And I also take away because I thought Michelle Rodriguez's character was underused a little bit. I thought we could have gotten a little more of her character background, kind of. But I can also understand why we didn't because of the entire, because of what Fast and the Furious stand for. You don't go into a Furious movie, you don't go in a Fast and Furious movie to look at story. Although it could be a nice bonus, you don't go into a Fast and Furious movie to look for story or plot or anything like that. Because if you look for that, you'll be disappointed a little bit. These movies are all about the cars, big explosions, hot women, stuff like that. And you just have a few beloved characters in the movie that are portrayed. So this movie got a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is pretty low for the movie, personally. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, there were the couple of problems that I found through the movie. But is it a perfect movie? No, definitely not. But it's a very good, enjoyable movie, and a movie that I am actually going to give a 4 out of 5 stars to. It entertained me throughout, and the characterizations were pretty solid, and yeah, I enjoyed the movie. So look for my next 5 reviews. There was a sequel to Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, which came out in 2003, I believe. Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, which came out 2006. Fast and Furious, or Fast and Furious 4, which came out 2009. Fast 5 came out in 2011. And then Fast and Furious 6, which came out 2013. And then Furious 7, which is going to be in theaters this Friday. So that's it for my review on the Fast and the Furious first movie. D-Rock 1992 out.